that he caused any damage whatsoever to your car. And he says, in addition, when you were living together, he purchased certain items for the house. He is no longer in the house, and he wants those items back. In addition, he says that you filed a false police report against him, which we'll get to in a moment. That's what the case is about. So you have a counterclaim.
Yes.
So I need some dates from you first. Tell me the month and year that the two of you moved in together.
It was September 2017.
Did you move to his apartment? Did he move to your apartment? Or did you move into an apartment or a house together?
We moved in together.
So you found an apartment together. Where had you been living previously?
He was staying with his mom and I was staying with mine.
And in 2017, when you moved in together, was the lease in both your names or in one name?
Mine.
Is there any reason for that? I mean, it's a very good idea and one that I support, because if things don't work out, then somebody knows they have to go, rather than it being a joint lease that you both involved in.
Okay, well, with his background, he wasn't eligible to get on a lease. He couldn't pass a background check.
Okay, is that correct?
Yes.
So, Lisa, and you're still as a couple living in this apartment when the breakup took place?
Yes.
And the breakup took place what month, day, and year?
January 25th, 2021.
And it was not an amicable breakup, so he left quickly.
Yeah, he still had time to get his thing.
Okay. Had you discussed breaking up?
No, he just left on his own.
On January 25th, tell me what happened. She said you just decided to leave.
January 25th, we did have some issues. I'm a truck driver, so I'd be over the road driving trucks, and Danielle would call me while I'm over the road disturbing me, asking me if I'm on the phone with females, asking me...
Okay, so she's being jealous.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I say, it was a big distraction, and it's kind of frustrating because I have to focus on this road.
Okay. I got it that you didn't want a distraction, but you've been together now 4 years and living together in the same place for 4 years. I'm asking these questions, and there's a reason for it based on your counterclaim, sir.
Okay.
Had you planned on leaving?
Well, we talked about it. We had some conversations, and I was like, this is not working. And
On what date did you tell her that it wasn't working?
January the 25th.
Is that when you came home from a job?
Yes.
So you were at home?
Yes.
And you just left?
I was escorted out by the police.
Well, that's not a just left.
Right.
I mean, I don't remember because I'm old, but, I've been in various relationships, but I don't remember ever calling the police to escort somebody out.
Well, that was the plan, was for me to just leave like that, but she got mad and she felt like I was grabbing some of my things, and she called the police and lied.
Okay, just a second. So that the plaintiff called the police?
Yes.
Miss Lovett, on the 25th of January, do you want to tell me why you called the police?
The 25th of January, the police wasn't called. We had been arguing previously, and on that day, he does a lot of drinking. He was drunk, and he just decided to start with me. It got to the point where yelling, neighbors worrying about what's going on. He left. He got his things. He left. He told me to keep whatever, don't worry about nothing. I'm done. I'm going to my mama's house. I can do what I want to do.
Okay, so he left and he said, I'm going to my mother's house.
Yeah, that time the police was not called.
When were they called?
It was the previous time before that in 2020. That's not when the police was called. He left willingly.
Sometimes people need their recollection refreshed. Does it refresh your recollection, sir, that the police were called in the year 2020,
yes,
not January 25th, 2021, when you just left?
But also then.
You have any proof that they were called that day?
No, I don't have any proof, and I can also say they was called again on May 25th.
Okay, but you said you were leaving.
Yes.
And between January 25th and May of 2021, did you and the plaintiff have any contact?
Yes, I actually moved back in.
When?
End of February, March.
Is that right?
Yes.
So we took a breather.
Yes.
And you took him back.
Yes.
And that didn't work out, and there was an incident in May.
Yeah, it be a lot of incidents.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So
just a
in
second.
May, we're not just
Wait, 1 second.
He only brought a mattress back, not the box spring. He sold the mattress to his friend last year for $50.
Oh, I cannot believe I went to 10 years postgraduate school for this.
Yes.
My father would be proud.
Later, there was no agreement or understanding from the very beginning to the time he sold the house behind my back with that he had anything to do but other than live in the house.
Smothers.
Yes.
Let me read to you what you wrote in your sworn complaint.
Danielle Lovett claims her ex-fiancé, Mario Griffin, vandalized her car and caused emotional distress. Mario is countersuing for his belongings and an assault.
Is what you're saying to me, Miss Lovett, that between January 25th, you and the defendant continued to have contact, and he moved back in at the end of March of 2021?
Yes, he moved back in March.
Until when?
March till August 3rd.
Well, then I'm confused, and I'm confused because of this. You claim in your complaint that the damage you're complaining about happened on February 11th.
Yes, he left.
Just a second. And then after that damage to your windows and or your car, you resumed living together in March.
Yes, that's when he came back.
You
March.
continued living together for several months,
Yes,
sleeping together,
yes,
eating together,
yes,
socializing together.
yes.
Then, quite frankly, I don't care what happened in February. And neither does any court care what happened in February. You two were keeping house. There's a word in the law called condonation. And that means that if something happens between a couple and they have a fight and a spat and they break things and they call each other names and they call their in-laws names and then they go back to living together as a couple, the courts don't care about it. Because you evidently didn't care about it. You didn't care about it enough not to resume your relationship with him. So quite frankly, I don't care. And I'm not going to assist you in fixing things that he may have broken, that he may have done while you were separated if you took him back and you continued to live together. So your case is dismissed. Now, I'm going to get to the counterclaim. That's easy. Did he buy the following things? A deep freezer.
We purchased together.
Is that correct?
No.
Prove to me that you purchased it alone.
I have the receipt here, and it's paid for with my bank account. And,
Okay, I'd like to take a look at it.
Okay. Here's the receipt, the treasure chest, and the receipt. Still be the system.
Now, what was purchased at Home Depot was $151.80. And you have the receipt for the surround sound system? That's either a yes or a no.
No.
Okay. Do you have a receipt for a sectional sofa?
Yes, I have.
I'd like to see it.
Okay, I'll check that there. And this just, because I financed it, but it's a paper here that just says paid in full. That one's, yeah, that's the one that said paid in full.
What is this? This is a lease to own.
Right, it's just a paper up there that says paid in full, 0 for the amount of the furniture, and sectional in a queen size bed.
Okay. And this was 15th of December of 2017.
Yes,
This is a
that was
customer
paid.
receipt.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you the following questions before I go through all of these things. So this is all old stuff.
Yes.
Okay. And the iPhone that you say you bought her,
Yeah.
you say you bought her and then you turned off service,
Yes.
which is you have every right to do. And in what year was the iPhone 11 purchased?
The iPhone 11 was purchased 2021,
In what month?
March 27th.
When you moved back in?
Yes.
No.
Okay. Did you give it to her as a gift?
No, I have a business account, and by me having a business account, I'm able to get business phones. And so I said, hey, I can get an extra iPhone.
Great. All right. You have your iPhone?
Yeah,
Great.
still have it.
Great. Great. Did you put it on a new payment plan?
I switched
That's
my
either
phone
a yes
number
or a no.
to it. I can't do anything with it. He cut it off, took my phone number,
Just a
and
second. So you can't do anything with it. Well, he's not going to pay for it. So now you have it, frame it. I don't know what you want to do with it. Okay. When you lived together, did you have a joint bank account?
no, we did not.
Can you tell me? I have just a couple of bills. One is for a 4-year-old bedroom set, which I know that the two of you used, and one is a receipt for $151.80 for a deep freezer. He says he paid for it. You said we purchased it. Explain that to me.
I gave him like $50 on it. We purchased it together as far as the deep freezer.
What about the bedroom set?
The bedroom set, he moved out. I have a receipt where I purchased my own furniture set right here. He brought his back. His is broken. His bed, he sold. He only brought a mattress back, not the box spring. He sold the mattress to his friend last year for $50. So the bed isn't even there.
I'm not following you. When did you buy a new bedroom set?
I bought a bedroom set because he moved out once and he took what he bought. So this was January 2018. I bought a sectional and a bed. He
Okay.
brought his back broken.
Just a second. So you were living together in 2018 and separated for a period of time? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
And when you separated back in January of 18 for a period of time, because I got this was a back and forth, you're saying he took his bedroom set with him?
Yes.
And you purchased another one?
Purchased another.
Is that what you're saying? Does that have a ring of familiarity to you?
Yeah, when I moved my furniture out and bedroom set out at the time, in January,
Yes.
we end up getting back together, and it's a 2-bedroom apartment. And she bring the furniture back, bring everything back, bring the TV back, all this and that. We back together. So I bought all my furniture back. I bought everything back to the apartment. She did purchase another bed and another furniture set
That the
section.
two of you used together?
Yes.
Okay, well then let me ask you this. So what you're telling me is that the bedroom set, which is really the only thing I'm interested in, I'm not interested in a 2-year-old freezer that cost $100. The bedroom set that you purchased was in the second bedroom?
No, it was in our bedroom.
And what did you do with the one that
It's
she
in the
purchased?
second bedroom.
Oh, I cannot believe I went to 10 years postgraduate school for this.
Yes.
My father would be proud. He put it to you this way. Do you have any of his bedroom?
Nothing is there.
Nothing is there.
Nothing.
Nothing. She has nothing.
Not bedroom.
She has nothing.
She's lying.
Okay.
No bed. Couch is there, broken.
Just a second. The couch is there that he purchased.
Yes.
And it's in your apartment.
Yes.
Great. So you have 5 days to get it out. Do you understand? If you don't get it out of her apartment with a mover within 5 days, on notice to her as to what day you're coming, you will have considered the sofa abandoned. Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. Then I have resolved this case. Your claim is dismissed because of the reasons that I stated. You have my judgment. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
Well, it wasn't fair because he did the damages, but he's still going to pay for it.
I kind of think it's a money thing, you know.
You know, whether we got back together, he still did it, so that was not fair at all.
I'm a truck driver, so I make a little money and
He could kick rocks. He could kick rocks.
she can use it for her benefits, you know.
He's a narcissist. He could find the next victim.
Glad it's over with, and hey, I'm gonna move on, you know. That's basically it.
So can you just explain a little bit why, if he did damage the home or the car while they were together, is getting back together enough of an out for him to not be responsible for that sort of damage?
Well, I took a term that I learned in law school, which is called condonation. And when you sue for the damage that your mate, your spouse did during the course of a marriage, you may use a course of conduct as a reason for a divorce. But courts can't go back and rewrite history. Now she's going back 6 months and say, well, he broke the windows in my house and he smashed the window in my car. Well, evidently you weren't upset about it enough not to let somebody who had that propensity back into your life and back into your bedroom. So, you know, there's a good lesson for everybody, especially for women. Leopards don't change their spots, usually. Anyway, condonation. Be smart.
Case 1088, Smothers versus Smothers. All parties, please step forward.
John Smothers is suing his twin brother, Chad Smothers, for his portion of profits from selling a house.
Mr. Smothers, this is your brother. It is your claim that he owes you your share of the profit from flipping a house.
Yes, Judge.
I read your complaint. I read the answer. And it appears that you purchased 2 houses at auction.
Yes.
In what year did that take place?
2012.
And the purpose of purchasing the houses was for you and your brother to refurbish them and sell them at a profit.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a written contract with your brother?
I have no written contract.
So this was an oral agreement with regard to real estate.
There was no agreement. I bought the houses. The only reason he came to the auction was to put the house in his name.
Justice, listen, he put the houses in his name. The houses are in his name. That means he owns them. If you say there was no agreement between the two of you to flip these houses, which I actually thought you said there was, then houses were purchased in 2012. They were put in your brother's name, so he owns the 2 houses.
Your Honor, we did have an agreement. We agreed we worked together on the 2 houses together at the beginning, and one would be his and one would be mine.
That's not the agreement whatsoever. I bought the houses for me and her to keep living one and eventually sell the other one. He had nowhere else to live. He had nowhere to go, lost his job. So he moved into a house that was, for all intents and purposes, unlivable. There was no agreement or understanding from the very beginning to the time he sold the house behind my back that he had anything to do but other than live in the house.
Smothers.
Yes.
You're the complainant, Jay Smothers.
Yes, John.
Let me read to you what you wrote in your sworn complaint. Chad is my identical twin brother. I was in the military, and when I was done, I lost my home. I was good at building and renovation, so I had the idea to start buying cheap properties, fix them up, and then flip them for profit. That's what you wrote. That's your signature. First time I did this, I went to an auction with my children's mother and Chad. That would be you. I had to put the houses in my brother's name in order to avoid some pending erroneous liens. I bought the 2 houses. I was going to live in one, and Chad and I were going to renovate both properties. That's what you said. Were you mistaken when you said that?
After
No,
I was not mistaken.
Think about what you just said and what I just read to you that you wrote in your sworn complaint.
The houses were purchased for my plan, my idea. He had nowhere else to live. Yes, I eventually, when he moved into the house, I agreed that if he's going to live there and do work on it, with no rent, no payment, no nothing, that he would be able to eventually, when we sold the house together, that yeah, he would get some of the money, but it wasn't his house to sell. It was my money, my plan, my investment. He just put his hand up during the auction.
He did sell $2,700 into the house.
Keep going.
And I made it worth enough to sell.
You sold the house for $27,000, and then the next buyer sold it for $108,000. I feel like you stole that whole
Doesn't
amount.
matter
It
what
wasn't
the
your
next buyer
property to
did.
sell, and if you sold it, you should have at least told me before you bought another house. You bought a whole other house. Didn't even tell me, and I found out to a friend that you had this money now, and didn't give me a single nickel off of it. Now, maybe we didn't have an exact agreement on how much you should get or how much I should get, but I didn't know you even sold the house, and you only got $30,000 for it.
I got nowhere near
You think getting it out of their system? Yeah? Goodbye. Your case is barred by the statute of limitations. We're done.
Court is adjourned.
He was living in a house. 2017, he sold it and didn't tell me that he even sold it.
I put all my blood, sweat, and tears into fixing that house up. He did put initial investment into it.
I should have been able to at least get half of the money from the profit from him selling that house.
Not everyone always gets a return on their investment. Sometimes people lose money on their investments, but
I don't have a brother.
I wish this didn't keep us from being brothers, but maybe we can work it out later.
Yeah, blood is thicker than water, but blood will hurt you just as worse than anybody else.
So there is a perfect example of why courts insist that you bring your actions if there's a breach of a contract, if there's an accident, if there's a claim of negligence, whatever the claim is, within a reasonable period of time. But the theory of it is that memories are fresh, documents are fresh. This guy couldn't even remember from when he signed his complaint to the story he just began to tell me. So there is a reason why courts insist that a case be fresh, because memories are clear.
They're far outside of that fresh period.
All rise.
I see everyone.
Oh, Judge. Case number 1144, Gustafson versus Bushman.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Gustafson, this your mom?
Yes, it is.
You were in the market for a car,
Yes,
a used car. You had a budget. You went to a place that was owned by the defendant,
correct.
which is a car lot. You own a car lot?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
And you picked out a car.
Yep.
Not a yep. That's a yes. What kind of car did you pick up?
It is a Chrysler 200.
What year?
I believe it's a 2013, but I'm not 100%.
How many miles does it have on it?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Does your mother know?
Probably.
How old are you?
27.
27. You should know the answers to all these questions. Is this your first car?
No.
What happened to your other cars? Is not an answer.
My last one actually was in an accident with a deer.
The last one was totaled.
Yes.
When was that?
May 2nd or 3rd,
And this one was purchased when?
May 27th of 2021.
2013.
Based on an estimate of 90,000 miles, 5,000 to 7,000.
How much did you pay for the car?
7,000.
With the tax, it's
Yep.
$64.95 without tax.
No, without tax.
64.95.
Great. So sort of right in the middle. You're not buying it from a private person. You know, you're buying it from a lot. He's got to make money. Now you can sit down. If I need you again, I'll call you. When you went to look at the car, your mother had bought something called a fixed sensor. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
Tell me what it is.
You plug it into a car sensor and it reads any error codes in the engine.
That's a very good thing to have when you go to buy a used car. And this car had error messages.
Yes, it did. Several.
Let me guess. You were the salesman. You work for him?
Yes.
Who signed the warranty for her?
She's not here. The salesperson's not here.
Why?
She's got other issues going on, ma'am. Sorry.
What is he doing here?
He's my mechanic, ma'am. And I was involved in a sale. That's why I didn't think.
Well, you were involved in the sale on the phone.
Correct.
She was involved in the sale and she signed the warranty slip.
Given permission from me, ma'am.
In any event, there were several errors on the car which should have given you, bing, this may be not the car for me. You bought it anyway, but you were smart enough to get some sort of a warranty. I'd like to see a copy of that warranty.
Absolutely. And there's a blown up message underneath it too.
Okay, so a 30-day warranty. Do you have the original of this 30-day warranty?
That is the warrant. It was a verbal agreement. They were.
No.
Yes,
That's
ma'am.
not a verbal agreement. That's in writing.
Yes, ma'am.
30-day warranty for what? Mr. Bushman, I know she didn't mean this. I know you didn't mean this. But this is what your representative signed and what you authorized. Because what happened is Miss Gustafson had trouble with the car. She called you and said she was having some difficulty. The engine light went on. Did you speak to him or someone else?
I text the sales girl.
Okay. Well, she's not here. And as a result of that conversation, you were sent to a mechanic that was a couple of hours away from where you live.
Correct.
Are you the mechanic?
Yes.
Your last name is?
Elias.
Mr. Elias?
Yes.
When she brought the car there, you work in conjunction with the defendant?
Yes.
Do you do all his mechanical work?
Yes.
You work out of your own shop?
Mr. Bushman's shop.
On the same premises where the cars are located?
Some of them.
Is the place where you brought the car, where you met Mr. Elias, the place where you purchased the car?
No, it is not, Your Honor.
So it was at a different location?
Yes.
Okay. Now, Mr. Elias, when the plaintiff brought you the car, you saw that there were warning lights.
Yes, a check engine light.
Check engine light, and you put the sensor in and you saw that there were certain codes.
One in particular.
Well, you know, one in particular doesn't tell me anything. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes.
When I see a flashing yellow light in the cabin of a plane and a red light in the cabin of a plane, I only want to see all green. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So one in particular doesn't really tell me anything. How many trouble spots did you see when you plugged in the sensor?
The check engine light was on for a possible faulty O2 sensor.
And anything else?
Not what my machine told me.
Just that one.
Just that one.
So what did you do?
Standard procedure is to clear it.
Just a second. So you cleared it?
Yes.
You took it off?
Then I
right?
proceeded to start the car 4 times.
Well, she started the car. She drove it to you. She drove it. She says 2 hours to you. That's not an indication of that everything is okay. That's an indication you can clear the error message, but that doesn't make the problem go away.
The light had stayed in a state that said there was no problem with the car after it was cleared.
Mr. Bushman, when you spoke to your representative, you had to have been advised that this machine that she bought indicated that there were problems with the car, right?
Yes.
Which is why you said sell him the car, give him a warranty.
Yes, ma'am. So it was under my impression that they did not have a current code on it with her code that was reading. They said it was under history, but it was there. And I said, that's fine. We'll take care of it. Give her a 30-day warranty. We're only talking about the oxygen sensor.
You see, that may be okay, Mr. Bushman, and that may be what you meant. But when you have a writing, because you're the business guy, when you have a writing that you prepared, because your person prepared it, even when you go in to buy a new car, it says warranty, limited warranty. So you know you have to be more specific.
Correct.
What do you think warranty means?
That if anything were to happen within that time limit, that he should have to fix it.
Or you return the car.
No, I didn't.
So what you did was had work done on the car that was in excess of $4,000, close to the purchase price of the car.
Yes.
You made a brand new car. You got new tires.
Yes.
You got new brakes.
Yes.
You got new everything.
Yes.
Well, you can't do that. That's unreasonable.
May I speak, please?
Are you losing so far? So far. Do you understand?
Yes.
That's unreasonable.
May I say one thing?
Sure.
The mechanic that we took it to did state that the
You
tires...
cannot tell me what the mechanic stated. What you can do is show me the whole entire bill of what this mechanic did. And if the check engine light was a result of something in the engine, I think you're entitled to that back, but not anything else. Entitled to a brand new car.
Yep.
Good. What?
Yes, ma'am. I have a text message thread on number 5 that I have labeled here saying they could go to the dealer of their choice and I would take care of the oxygen sensor and specifically
Well, I don't
state
get.
that.
You can't modify this ex parte, one side. Can't modify this contract. But there's a reasonableness read into this that if you buy a car and pay the value of the car, which she did, she paid the value of the car, paid an extra couple of bucks because that covers your expenses, and that there was a check engine light that went on, I have to see what else she did in the car because that would be an unreasonable interpretation of this to now make this car worth $11,000.
Your Honor, I did try to negotiate with him.
Oh, just a second. I just asked you for a question. I just want to see what they did. This is a paid invoice. Balanced tires you're not entitled to. An alignment you're not entitled to. Transmission oil. Customer states replace transmission cooler hose. Mr. Elias, since you're the mechanic, would you find on here, replace both license plate bulbs, ridiculous, place oil cooler? Kevin, show Mr. Elias this. Give him a pen, please. And have him circle the items on this, anything that had to do with the check engine light, that had nothing to do with bulbs, that had nothing to do, anything that had to do with a check engine light. Circle them, please, because that's a reasonable interpretation of what the warranty is. You read all the pages?
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Price. 2 upstream oxygen sensors. 206. This is a whole lot of math that I hate. You know, math is not my favorite subject. Okay, I got this one, Sarah.
Right.
Well, then they added labor. A lot was for labor. Labor that has to do with the whole project. And if you add to that a piece of this for the labor, if you add $600 for the labor for everything that they fixed, so you have $600 plus the 206 is $806. Now, he sent you some money.
Correct.
How much did he send you?
$400.
What did you do with the check?
I still have it.
Okay, I suggest you cash it because then he owes you $406 because you didn't, nor did your mother actually reasonably believe he was going to build you a new car.
No.
Put on tires and brakes. You have an opportunity. You could have said, I want to take this car to my mechanic, right?
Yes.
And check it out. You didn't do that. What?
Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah, I just want to say, in Wisconsin, we have something called a disclosure law. And on that, he had put that everything on the car, including, you're supposed to, in Wisconsin, you have to tell somebody if there's a little leak, if there's any issues. So he marked it all that everything on the car was perfect. Now, we didn't
Now,
sign
just a
or
second.
redo
I
it
want,
until...
I would like you to show me where he said everything in the car was perfect.
Yep, no problem.
I would like to see it.
We have two copies, two different ones.
Well, just a second. If he said, who said?
Which, I don't know if it's the mechanic or the owner, it's signed that everything on the car was in perfect order.
Now, just a second. I'm just reading this. Okay. He says it must be in proper working condition. Ms. Gustafson.
Yes.
You drove this car for 2 hours, you say in your complaint, from someplace to his shop.
Correct.
You on a highway?
Yes.
Did you get off the highway?
Yes.
When you got off the highway, did you brake to stop?
Yes.
You didn't stick your foot out.
No.
So the brakes worked.
Yes.
And the car drove for at least 2 hours.
Yep.
Yeah, not yep. That's yes. $406. We're finished. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Court is adjourned.
Owners that if you're going to provide a warranty or a service, I understand that this was his representative that just wrote 30-day warranty, but you're going to be bound by that. So if it's important to you to limit it to a certain sensor or a certain issue, you have to be sure to put that in writing because, as you said, you can't one-sided change the contract.
Modify what's in writing. Yes, but you have to build in, I think that you have to build in a reasonableness into that warranty. And her mother was wrong. When you buy a used car, nothing is in perfect condition. It's not even in perfect condition sometimes when you buy a new car.
True.
Even in a new car, you have limited warranties. But really, it's on the merchant who is preparing the contract to specify what is included in this warranty. It's a very good lesson.
Case number 1007, Sacred versus Santana. Please step forward.
Brittany Sacra is suing her cousin, Chanel Santana, for unpaid rent, property damage, and a personal loan.
You're Brittany Sacra,
Yes, Your Honor.
and this is your cousin?
Yes,
Were you close cousins?
always.
Tell me when your cousin moved in with you.
She moved in of June of 2019.
Why?
She had gotten evicted from her apartment and she needed a place to go, so I had a basement apartment for rent.
Miss Santana, why were you evicted from your previous apartment?
I started having seizures and I was on a leave of absence for work for quite some time, and it took me a while to catch up.
So you were evicted for non-payment of rent?
Yes.
And I assume that when you moved in with your cousin, you told her why you were evicted.
Yes.
That would be natural.
Yes, she did.
Were you back to work?
Yes.
Was there any reason why you didn't catch up with rent in your old apartment?
It was just too much. I fell behind maybe about like 2 months. I was on a leave of absence for 2 months, so trying to pay current and back pay wasn't.
Couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Got it. You agreed to pay rent when you moved in?
Yes, I did.
And how much rent were you going to pay?
$950.
Moved in what month and year?
June of 2019.
Did you pay rent in June?
Yes, ma'am.
The whole $950?
Yes.
What about July?
Yes, I paid the full $950.
What about August?
Yes.
How long did you stay with your cousin?
A little over a year and a half.
What month did you move out?
December of 2020.
Did you pay rent in December?
No, ma'am.
Did you stay there at all in December?
Barely.
What is a barely?
I was traveling a lot.
But your things were there?
Yes.
Okay. And what date in December did you remove your things?
Like the 30th.
Okay, so you were living there until the 30th. If your things are there, you're there. That's the rule. Into November?
No.
Why not?
Wasn't able to.
Tell me why not?
Aside or outside of my job situation, when she crashed my car, it was kind of like an even trade.
Okay, so you want to get into an accident that she had when she was driving your car.
Yes.
And when was that accident?
That was in March of 2020.
So in March of 2020, she had an accident with your car, because I read about that in your papers. But you paid rent to her in March and April and May and June and July and August and September and October, right? You paid rent.
Yes.
So what made you decide in November of 2020 that it was a trade-off with the car?
Well, it was a previous conversation that we had. And being that she had purchased, the home from her mom, I was just trying to be as helpful as I could while I was in a more stable position. But then once I lost my job in July, it was hard for me to really keep up with anything.
Well, you lost your job in July, but you did, in fact, continue to pay rent until November.
Well, she didn't pay October's rent, Your Honor. She didn't pay for October, she didn't pay November, and she didn't pay December.
So there was an additional month of October.
Yes. And this vehicle she's talking about, it was in 2019 because I got ticketed and I had to pay hundreds of dollars for tickets for her vehicle.
Did you crash her car?
I did. There was the animal that hit the vehicle, yes. But I gave her $1,000 for her deductible.
Are you still driving that car?
No, her vehicle, it was her vehicle and it was up for repossession.
Okay. After the accident, was she still able to drive the car?
No.
Okay, so that must have been a pretty substantial accident.
Correct.
So she wasn't able to drive it, you weren't able to drive it. Did you have permission to drive the car that night?
Yes, she did give me permission.
Okay. $950 times 30.
$2,850, Your Honor.
Tell me why you moved out of the apartment.
Aside from, sorry about that.
Very, very easy. Tell me why you moved out of the apartment. Don't think about what's nice, what I want to hear.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not that. Aside from her saying that I wasn't paying her rent, which I felt like I didn't need to, it was also, the situation with her boyfriend or fiance, or I don't know what you want to call it, but it became too much of a stressful and strenuous situation for me.
Okay, so there was some sort of social friction with your cousin.
Yes, it was a lot of friction between him and I.
Okay, well, as far as the rent is concerned, there's no question that you owe her $2,850 for the 3 months that you didn't pay rent. You have no counterclaim that has anything to do with the car, so I don't have to hear anything more about the car. What else do you think your cousin owes you?
Your Honor, she owes me for damages that she has done to my property, the furniture she left in my home.
So she just left it and you had to have it removed?
Yes, I did.
Okay, just a second. Do you have a receipt from the person who removed the trash from the home?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'd like to see it. Kevin?
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a receipt. That's a nothing. That's a nothing that I believe.
Okay.
It's something that you buy in the store.
Oh, that's
and
what
you
was
make a
given to
blow
the
up
person that
and you make a
removed it.
blow up of. $2,850. What's next?
The damages that she did to the basement apartment. I had to purchase a brand new stove because she ruined that.
How old was the stove that was there?
It was a year old.
You have the bill for the stove that was there?
Yes, I have the receipt for the one that I purchased.
Not the new one that you purchased, the one that was existing there that was a year old.
No, I don't.
I'm not interested.
Okay. I also have for the unpaid loans that I had lent her money for.
Okay. Now, you want to tell me about these loans? Tell me when you made loans to her and what purpose?
They were for various different things.
I'm not talking about you giving your cousin $10 here, $20 there, $50 there. I'm talking about a loan that you made to her that she asked you for, and you said you have to pay me back, and she didn't.
Wow.
And then I'm going to ask you, why did you give her any more money if she hadn't paid you back the original money? So let's start out. Month, day, and year you made her the first loan.
Well, I had given her a loan to get her tooth extracted.
Month, day, and year.
This was on February 25th of 2020, and it was for $419.95.
Miss Santana, did you pay her back the $419?
No.
Okay, what's next?
And then I also had a bank transfer to her on July 22nd of 2020 for $386.
For what?
She said that she needed to pay because she had gotten a DUI. She had 2, and she had to pay her attorney.
No denying.
What's next?
And the rest were just small personal loans that I had lent her money.
All together now.
$3,655.95, Your Honor.
55?
Yes.
Anything else?
Aside from the cash apps, no.
When was the last time you spoke to your cousin?
The day I moved out.
Do you see each other at family get-togethers? Anything else?
No.
No, I won't come if she's there.
Okay. That's too bad. Is that because of this money or is that because of a social situation?
It's both.
36.55, 55?
95.
Your Honor, I
95.
also have a receipt for the deep clean that I had to pay for when she moved out of my property because she left it in disgusting manner.
Okay. You'd have to clean it anyway. 36.55, 95. Judgment for the plaintiff. Thank you very much. Be seated, please.
Hello, Judge. We have case number 1004, Nichols versus Rubio.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
Miss Nichols, I've read your complaint. This is your sister.
Yes, it is.
And there came a time when you and your family moved in with your sister.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me when that was?
That was in October.
Of what year?
Of 2020.
And how many were there in your family?
There were 7 of us.
You, your husband, and children?
Mm-hmm.
Where had you been living prior to moving in with your sister?
We lived in our own home in Barstow.
Is it a home that you rented or owned?
We rented.
Okay, so tell me, what was the reason that you and your family moved in with your sister? You're going to give it to me from your perspective, I know. But tell me your perspective on why your sister welcomed you and 5 children into her house.
We were asked to move in, or she was going to lose her house. She could not afford it on her own since she was about to go through a divorce. She came to us and she asked us to move in. She said her income was only $1,400. Her mortgage was $1,900, and she wouldn't be able to keep the house.
Okay. Ms. Rubio, is that your understanding of the reason that your sister and her family moved in with you in October?
Yes, it is.
How large is your home?
It's a 5-bedroom, 3 bath. Has 2 masters.
Who in your family was living there?
Myself and my 2 children.
And I assume your sister is correct when she said at the time, around October, you were going through a divorce.
Correct.
And prior to that, your husband lived with you? He was employed?
Correct.
Are you still in that house?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's a house that you own?
Yes, ma'am.
It is your claim, Ms. Nichols, that at some point your sister evicted you from the house.
She harassed us.
You say she harassed you, but your claim is that she really evicted you from the house, and as a result of that eviction, you suffered certain losses. You had to go to a hotel, your children were separated, those are all things that flow from that. She did not bring eviction proceedings against you.
Correct.
Okay. You lived there in October, paid rent. What was your rent?
It was $1,500.
And are you employed?
I received disability. I'm about to be cut off. I had some surgeries and going to be going back to work.
Okay.
And I also received, my children have survivor benefits from their father.
Who is this?
This is my son.
Where is your husband?
My husband's at work.
Are any of the 5 children the children of your current husband?
I don't have any children with him, but his daughter was residing in the home.
Okay, so you have 4 children.
Me? Oh, I have 4 children.
You have 4 children with your now deceased husband.
Yes.
Got that?
Yep.
Okay, and they receive survivor benefits. And how much did each child receive from survivor benefits?
$800.
$800 a month. So there was a period of time you were receiving $3,200 a month for survivor benefits, and you were receiving disability. How much did you receive?
$1,032 currently.
And your husband was working.
Correct.
This is what I gather from your complaint is the gravamen of your case for eviction. There came a time, sometime in December of 2020, because you lived there, paid rent in October. I assume if I asked you the same question, you lived with your sister and paid rent in November.
Correct.
An incident occurred in December between your sister and your husband.
But first, between me and her.
About what?
When I moved in, I wasn't told that her income was going to be $1,400 a month. And then I see that she's breeding dogs on the side as a side hustle, making thousands of dollars. So I questioned this. Why am I paying $1,500 of your mortgage and you're only paying $400 when you just made all this money? And so it became an attack. You're just jealous and insecure, looking to see what I have. And it just escalated from there. There was tension in the home. I paid her the money regardless. But
well, Miss Nichols, my question to you is, you had an arrangement with your sister that you were going to pay $1,500 a month.
Based on the $1,400 that I knew was her income.
I don't care what you knew. You had an agreement with her to pay $1,500 a month. And if she hit the lottery and got $1 million, you're still obligated to pay $1,500 a month for yourself, your husband, and 5 children, 4 of your own and 1 of his. That's your obligation.
And I did.
So if she's making money because she's breeding puppies and selling them, that had nothing to do with you. I mean, you said that it began with the 2 of you over money, but I'm just letting you know that that's not a sympathetic argument, because it wouldn't be a sympathetic argument if you were getting $1,045 in disability and then you went back to work and you were earning $3,000 a month, and she said, well, now that you're earning $3,000 a month, you have to pay me $2,000 a month for rent. You had an agreement, and the agreement was for $1,500.
And I understand that. It was just meant to be a conversation.
I mean, it was my understanding that the difficulty arose with your husband and the defendant, and it was you who indicated, no, between the 2 of us, we had a problem.
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, because there were some incidents that happened that same day, earlier that day.
What day?
That led up, December 8th.
Were you at home?
Me and my children were home, and they witnessed it. I was out that morning to go get everybody in the home breakfast.
So you didn't witness any incident?
With my belongings, with my things?
Well, is that what started this?
Yes.
Okay, but did you witness it?
I have text messages of her. I didn't witness it with my eyes, but I have the threats and the follow-through.
Do you have a witness?
Yes.
Is that your son?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me his first name.
Vincent.
Vincent, would you step up, please? Vincent, you were home on December 8th?
Yes.
About what time did you witness an incident that you felt was disturbing?
I don't remember what exact time, but it was early in the morning.
Okay, where was your mother?
She was out getting food for everyone.
Okay, and tell me what you witnessed.
I was going to go to my mom's room, but then I saw all of our Christmas stuff just shoved in front of her door.
And that was on December 8th?
Yes.
So when you say Christmas stuff, tell me what you're talking about.
Like decorations to put outside or around the house.
Okay, and it was put in front of your mom's door?
Yeah.
And?
Well, I mean, that was it until she came home.
Okay, so what you saw were Christmas decorations that were supposed to be, that you thought were supposed to be put around the house, and they were
thrown. They weren't neatly.
Yeah.
Just a second. They were in front of your mother's door.
Yes.
Okay, now you can sit down, Vincent. Okay, so the Christmas decorations are in front of your door. Now, let's move on with this, because this really doesn't have much to do with why you're not in your sister's house anymore.
Well, after that, she comes out of her room, and they witnesses, all my children witnessed it.
No, don't. You can't tell me what all your children witnessed. Am I not finished with Vincent yet?
Okay.
Vincent, after you went to your mother's room, and I've forgotten why you went to your mother's room.
Well, I was just wondering where she was.
You said she was out getting us food.
Well, I didn't know that at the time until she came back with food.
Okay, you went to look for your mother.
Yes.
And when you went to look for your mother, you saw the Christmas decorations in front of the door. What did you do next?
I think I just went back to my room and then told my brother about it.
Okay. And what happened next?
We kind of just waited until she
Now,
got
what did you do? You just waited until your mother got home?
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't witness anything else. You waited with your brother until your mother got home?
Yeah.
Okay. See anything else that day?
I mean, a lot of stuff happened whenever she did get home.
And when she got home?
Well, when she came home, me and my brother, we were trying to point out to her that her Christmas decorations had been thrown in front of her door. And then Lily came out. She just started arguing.
And?
They just started screaming at each other.
Vincent, was your mother's husband home?
Not at the time.
When did he come home?
Sometime around 5.
Were you at home when he came home?
Yeah.
Did an incident happen between your aunt and your stepfather?
Well, I believe there was one point.
Don't tell me what you believe. I only want to know what you saw.
I didn't see anything. I heard it because I was in my room trying to avoid it.
Okay. Tell me what you heard.
I heard Lily say
That's
that
your
she
aunt?
was... Yeah, my aunt. I heard her say she was going to send her dogs on her cats so that they could kill them.
That doesn't sound like a good situation.
Does not.
Prior to moving in with your aunt, were your mother and stepfather getting along?
Yeah, there wasn't any problems I was aware of.
Miss Nichols, prior to you moving in with your sister, were you and your husband in any sort of counseling?
We were in marital counseling, yes.
Okay. And that marital counseling was because of a couple of incidents that occurred.
It was due to communication, helping us communicate better with each other.
How long had you been in counseling?
I would say probably 3-4 months at the time.
What incident precipitated you and your husband going to counseling? I want you to think carefully. What incident precipitated you and your husband going to counseling?
I don't think there was a specific incident. I think it was just the way that we talked to each other, learning how to use the tone, how to say things, and we were both communicating, getting frustration, and so we both decided to do something to better that.
Was there ever a time that the police were called to your house?
No.
Did you and your sister have a discussion about, she had dogs, you had cats. How many cats did you have?
We had 2. We did have a discussion about that.
When?
Before we moved in.
And how many dogs did your sister have?
Well, different ones at different times, depending on what.
In December of 2020?
I think she had 2 or 3.
Okay, so now let's get back to December the 8th. You can sit down now. Was that the date that you moved out of the house?
No.
On what date did you move out of the house?
I was back and forth in the home.
As long as you had clothes there, you were there?
Yes.
On what date did you move your property out?
We came for the first, the U-Haul load was December 21st, and then the last of it was the last day of the month.
And was your rent paid for that time? So there was an argument between your sister and your husband, and that argument escalated, and the police were called. Were you at home?
I was in the laundry room, so I didn't witness anything.
Okay. You want to tell me what happened with your brother-in-law?
Do you want me to tell you from the beginning, from that day?
Yes.
Okay, so all this time, my sister, she would complain constantly by text, do this, do that, and I'm going through depression, going through divorce, I'm grieving, I'm angry, I'm just going through a lot of emotions, and I lay in bed a lot, I'm not doing well mentally. So I wake up to messages, turn off the heater, I'm not going to pay for a high bill. And previously to that, on December 2nd, she had decided to take the Christmas decorations off of the tree, which was petty, and I just laughed it off. But then by that day, I was fed up.
She had put them on the tree?
She decorated before Thanksgiving, and then on December 2nd, she decided to take the decorations off of the Christmas tree, just the tree. And
Was the tree inside or outside?
Inside, in the living room.
So you had a tree set up in the house?
She and her husband had set it up. They decorated the whole house, inside and out.
And she took down the decorations?
Correct.
Where did she put them?
In her room on her own Christmas tree.
Was there ever a time that you took decorations and put them in front of her door?
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me, where did you get those decorations?
So I got up, it was about 11 a.m., and I wanted to go talk to her because she always decided she wanted to text, never actually talked to me. So she wasn't there. I'd had enough, and I got the rest of her Christmas decorations from in the living room, and I put them in front of her door. I went outside and got her Christmas decorations that were hers in the front, and I put them next to her boat on the side of the house.
You did have a Christmas tree in your room?
I did.
Okay. Did there come a time on the 8th of December or before the 8th of December that you decided to take some of those decorations off the family Christmas tree, which was in the living room, put them on your Christmas tree in your room?
Well,
that's either a yes or a no.
Okay. Yeah, I took them off and put them in my room.
That's all. Okay, so on the 8th, you took the rest of the decorations that she had put. It sounds like a wholly uncivilized way to live. All right, get to what happened with your brother-in-law.
So she came home, saw that I had moved her decorations. When she had her children or anyone else around, then she wants to...
No.
Are you? Okay.
I recognize from listening to the two of you that this was not a good situation. I could have told you that it's hard to live with anybody else. How long had it been since you lived with your sister?
Years.
Years. And it was a stressful situation for you without 5 other children and your sister who is not happy that you're selling puppies, whatever. But I want you to tell me what happened with your brother-in-law.
Okay, I decided that instead of always locking in myself in my room to distance myself, I was going to enjoy my house, my home. So I sat in the living room watching TV with my dog. He has a collar on. He's sitting next to me on the couch. And she's walking back and forth. It's about 7 p.m. She's walking back and forth, telling the kids how I need to get my beat, how I need to be taught a lesson. And then someone opened the front door and one of the cats came in. And I grabbed my dog by his collar and I said, come and get your cat before my dog gets it. So she's walking in and out still. She comes out of her bedroom and she comes behind me on the couch. It's an open kitchen. She's in the kitchen area. And her husband's like walking 5 steps behind her. And he walks very closely to me. And I just freeze. I grabbed my phone to call the police. He took it out of my hand, threw it, breaking the pantry door.
Did you finally get to the police?
I did call the police.
As a result of that incident, were you granted an order of protection?
Yes, ma'am.
Was there a trial, or did the plaintiff's husband consent to the order of protection?
He showed up and requested a continuance, which was granted, and then he did not show up.
So the order of protection is, according to you, for 2 years, and it was granted on default.
It is for until 2024.
Okay, may I see that, please? Sarah, I am correct that the only person who was the subject of that protective order is your husband. Is that right?
I guess so. He never received anything, but
I don't know whether he received anything or not. He absolutely received something because he showed up in court. Was he removed from the house on that date?
He was served at his job.
No, was he removed from the house when the police came?
no, the day the police came, he was not removed from the house.
On what date was he removed from the house?
2 days later, after she filed a restraining order. I had shown the police.
Just a second. He was removed 2 days later. Where did he go?
To a motel.
You were not served with a protective order.
No, I was not.
She's the owner.
Her children are on the protective order
Are
as
they?
well.
Can I see it?
Subsection 3.
Thank you. You have a 13 and 14. Your children?
Yes, ma'am.
13 and 14? Thank you. After your husband was removed from the home 2 days later, so that would be December 10th, you and the 5 children, including your 4 and your husband's 1, was still in the house.
Yes, we were still in the house. I was going back and forth, between the house and where he was at the hotel or the motel.
When you say you were going back and forth, what does that mean?
Between the house that we lived in, that we paid for, and at the room.
Okay.
And then she moved 6 people in on top of our kids, and they were on their stuff, sleeping in the beds that she said that they could sleep on. It was my parental duty to remove them from a traumatic, just everything that was going on.
Let me understand this, Ms. Nichols. You felt because it was a tumultuous relationship that you had with your sister, and you didn't feel as if your children should be involved in that tumultuous relationship and in that atmosphere, you removed yourself and the children from the house.
After a few days of going back and forth and still having to hear her say something to me, you need to move this, you need to do this, you need to do that. It was just getting to be too much. So they went to a friend's house for a few days and they couldn't stay there forever. So we ended up having to rent 2 motel rooms. I had 2 adult children who were still in the home dealing with all this mess and all the people in the house that she moved in. And it wasn't getting any better. And they didn't want to be there either. And they were 22 and 21.
You can't tell me what they wanted. They were, in fact, there. The last of your stuff was out on December 31st. You did, in fact, live, you and your children, lived in the house until December 31st. You weren't removed from the house. Your husband was removed from the house because a court found that the defendant was entitled to an order of protection against him to vacate the house. So the court granted that order of protection. Your case is what you describe as constructive eviction. She never forced you out of the house or locked you out of the house.
I have text messages, and I contacted a lawyer.
No, you contacted a lawyer
to get advice, to get legal advice, because I'm entitled to have a quiet. I was her tenant.
No, you are her sister, and it got to be nasty between 2 sisters, and it got to be nasty between your husband and your sister, and you had kids, and she had kids. And you didn't want your kids to be involved in the nastiness that was going on in the house. And she didn't want her kids to be involved in the nastiness that was going on between the 2 of you for whatever reason. Why do you think courts have to be involved in this? You moved with 5 children, and you moved with your husband. I assume the 2 of you were still together. Is that a yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And I assume that you're happier than you were living in your sister's house.
Were we happier living with her?
I said, are you happier now living?
Oh, we're happier now. Yes, absolutely.
Great. So why are you annoying all of us? Why did you contact a lawyer? I mean, I'm not following why you think everything, why some people think that everything involves a legal case. You didn't get along with your sister. Happens to be that you had 5 kids. She had 2. You have cats. She has dogs. It was a disaster looking to happen. And it was a mistake. It lasted October, November, December. You were gone. Over. Tell me what brings you to court.
What brings me to court is the fact that she was told, I have police reports of them telling her not to touch my things, and she did so anyways. We sold our furniture because she's like, oh, I have these extra beds that were her husband's kids' beds, and sell your washer and your couches. And
You're a grown-up lady. You had 4 children. She doesn't tell you what to do. You're a grown-up lady. You want to move in with her and you see how it works out. You haven't lived together in years. Put your stuff in storage for a month or so and see how it's working out.
Had I known she was going to make all this money on the side, I would never agree to move in with her.
Yeah, that comes under the category of shoulda, woulda, coulda. You moved in, you knew she had dogs, you moved in, she knew you had cats, or vice versa. I still don't understand why you think everything involves a court case. Look up the term constructive eviction, would you please, for me, Sarah? I know that that's what it says, that she constructively evicted you, which is a term that, did the lawyer say constructive eviction? Is that?
No, they tell me that the landlord could not harass you. They were not allowed to touch your property to make it unenjoyable. You would be quiet.
Yeah, quiet enjoyment.
So a situation where a landlord does not do something that they must do by law, causing the property to be labeled uninhabitable, for example, shutting off the heat or water, then a tenant has a claim against their landlord.
Okay.
She changed the password to the Wi-Fi, and she didn't shut off the water, but what we paid half of all the bills, including the Wi-Fi.
Are you happy your sister is gone?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you happy that you're gone? Yeah. Are you in a house now?
Of course.
Okay. Your case is dismissed, Ms. Nichols. We have no case. Listen, you have a counterclaim. That's nonsense. For half the utilities for the 2 months, which you didn't pay, were a couple of $100s. Are you happy she's gone?
Yes, ma'am.
We're done here. Thank you.